Hey everybody, welcome back. Oh, Eb is in the chat room.
Holy shit, speak of the fucking devil.
Just in the chat room.
Did he just pop up?
Yeah.
So he didn't hear anything we said
No,
about
he
him
did.
earlier?
He said, hey, I'm right here.
Shit.
Because of the delay. Welcome back to Outside the Cinema, episode number 295. You know what that means, Chris? We are only
It's time to stop.
5 weeks away from episode 300.
Yeah.
Dude.
We doing anything special for that?
Yeah. We
Oh,
talked
okay.
about it last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
Don't even this week.
And you
is,
even said that sounds like a good
this,
idea.
This week is not a good week for me to remember stuff, so.
Is any week really?
Yes. Every other week but this week.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm Bill by Force. That's Mr. Chris. We are your hosts. We help you navigate the landscape of cult movies.
Mostly saying don't watch this.
Yes, we have gotten awesome, really good. We are probably the best in the business of saying don't watch this movie.
Yeah. We say it the most.
We did well. No, I don't know about that. Probably we've said it a lot, more times than I would like to imagine.
Well, coming up on episode 300, that means there's at least 600 movies reviewed.
That's a lot of fucking movies.
Yeah.
That's a lot of movies.
It is. It's really closer to
Eb says we're not nice.
600 and probably
Eb says we're not nice.
630. Yeah, he's a good judge of nice.
He said he forgot about us and then goes to tell us that we just aren't nice. He says TV trauma is a legitimate excuse. Apparently he's upset about the Dexter finale, which I haven't watched yet. So
him saying we're not nice is kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge saying somebody else is cheap.
yeah.
You like that, Ebenezer?
Yeah.
See?
Can you say it with a Scottish accent?
No.
Them others people aren't cheap.
Aye, donkey.
I don't. I love you. I always have. We cannot have our lives. We cannot take our freedom.
You got Braveheart. I got fucking Shrek as my point of reference for Scotland.
Obviously.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Oh, you got your sunglasses in there? Oh, shit. It's right.
I read a rumor that the next Terminator is supposed to be set in the 50s.
What?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I don't care. Then he can have the pompadour and the sunglasses. And it'll sound like that with the song.
Yes, because that's
which hadn't been recorded yet.
Anyway, big show planned tonight.
Maybe they'll send back Johnny 5. And that's where the song Johnny Be Good came from. Because he's a bad Terminator. But he needs to be good.
We all know that the song Johnny Be Good came from Michael J. Fox playing it as Marty McFly at the school dance.
That is true, but that's like a circular, paradoxical kind of... We are not reviewing these movies today, are we?
Yeah. We're going to review them.
Yeah, they'll be graded.
They will be graded. So tonight's two Kickstarter films.
Sadly, I picked them. I grouped them together.
It's okay.
I didn't pick them.
Todd Colley, his pick was Weasels Rip My Flesh. It's a Super 8, $400 budget.
That much?
Self-made by a 16-year-old kid in Long Island in 1979. About space weasels.
It was all good till you got to that.
Spoiler alert, it's fucking terrible.
Spoiler alert, I didn't see a weasel in the entire movie.
They were those weird papier-mâché things. They kind of looked like rats, yeah. Well, I guess a weasel kind of looks like a rat. And the other film, which is completely outside of our normal...
I would disagree, and we will talk about that when we get to it.
Oh, you would disagree that we normally only cover films 10 years or older?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Thanks.
I would, because we covered something else that I can't think of what the fuck it was. But it doesn't matter. It's Kickstarter, so that's why I was thinking
exactly.
that.
If you would let me finish.
I don't really feel like doing
Leandro Romero, his pick. His pick was Martha May Marlene.
Martha Marcy May Marlene.
Whatever.
Once you watch it, it's easy to remember the title.
Obviously.
That's what Frank told me. And then when I watched it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Did Frank see it?
He did see it when it was in the theater.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So it should be interesting to talk about
It's one
that.
of those pretentious art house movies.
It's not that pretentious. It's got it's a
Pretentious enough for Frank to see it.
It's a little pretentious.
Here's a. I'll give you a quick preview of our 5-year anniversary episode that we just recorded. Somebody asked, "What's your favorite movie of the year?" And I said it's a toss up between Dread and Pacific Rim. And Frank said it was Joss Whedon's fucking Shakespeare one that showed on like 4 screens. So there you go. Giant robots punching each other and people getting shot in slow motion. That's me. Okay.
Dread was last year though.
I don't care. So I said Pacific Rim. Was it last year? Mm-hmm. I thought it was January.
It was
this
number.
year.
It was number 2 on my list and number 1 on your list.
That's how much sleep I've got.
Here we go again.
Hey, I can log back into my laptop.
Fucking such a badass, Chris. So yeah. So those are
that was last year.
Yeah, it was. It was on both our lists. It was my number 2 and I think it was your number 1.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Well, I said Pacific Rim anyway, so
fair enough.
Because that was the most fun I had. So.
Obviously. All right, so so those are the films for this week. First segment, no top 6 this week. I put together a great segment that we're gonna play with. We also have Vishnu's TIFF report.
Oh yeah,
which I spent a lot of time with too. I cleaned it up and
nice.
Got rid
I think
of,
we're gonna need a nice big segment.
No offense to
week.
the Kickstarter films, but I just don't.
We'll do them justice.
We'll do our best to. We'll do it. Wow, that was popped off.
You know what? I think the newer one actually we might get a little more mileage out of. Because
there's some substance to it.
Yeah, and connections to other stuff that we've reviewed.
True.
So
yeah, that's true.
So.
That's true. All right, so here's what's going on in the month of October. The month of October is huge. There's like a ton of shit going on.
Yeah.
First and foremost, we are going to be at Rock and Shock on October 18th, 19th, and 20th. In Worcester, Massachusetts. We will be there with our table. We will have Sir Rev Scott there. He will be... Yeah, I knighted him, by the way. I didn't know if I told you that.
Do I get to hit him with the sword?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you do. So he's going to be... so he's coming up and he's going to be hanging out. Tommy Norcal's coming up and hanging out. Nice. Fozzie is coming up and hanging out. Emily and Erica from Gleecast are going to be here.
Very nice. Very nice.
Emily, I believe her boyfriend is coming too, is the plan.
Oh, good.
Erica's man was hopefully going to come. He's not sure if he can get out of work. Michael Neal will be in the house.
All right.
Christy Jett from Fright Rags will be in the house.
Yes.
And by in the house, you mean in the convention center.
Yeah.
Very excited. The Wicked Burn Media crew will be there.
Yep.
We're working hand in hand with them quite a bit. We got a lot of cool stuff planned. Joey Fatone, the return of Joey Fatone to the Rock and Shock fold. Can't wait to talk to him and ask him if Justin Timberlake spoke to him at the NSYNC reunion. Because I don't know if he did or not. So that is coming up that weekend.
Not a question you want to ask.
Episode 300, I think, is the Monday after Rock and Shock. And then make sure I get the date right again, because I know I keep getting the Throwdown date wrong every time I look at it. But the Throwdown, which I'm going to be announcing the films for tonight, I'm going to announce all of them.
Yeah, because usually you tease them out.
Nope, not this year. I'm announcing them all, mostly because I know Bunny's in the chat room and he wants to make a video promo for us like he did last year, and I wanted to do that because he made a really cool video promo for us.
Right.
Our buddy Bunny, he's from Undead Cow Films. Check out undeadcowfilms.com. He's does cool little like a lot of shorts, but he does some really cool work. So let me just make sure I get the date right here. Saturday, October 26th. Is the Halloween Throwdown, the OTC 4th annual Halloween Throwdown. Very excited. Do you want to announce the films now?
If that's what we're doing. Do you have anything else you need to...
Well, just the usual. Join our Facebook group, facebook.outsidethecinema.com. If you have voicemail, you can give us a call at 206-350-0618. Follow all 3 of us on the Twitter. And by all 3 of us, I mean Chris, me, and Scott. OTC Bill, OTC Chris, and at Reverend_Scott. Instagram, Outside the Cinema, all one word. Keep your eyes out for our good buddy Steve's back of forest working in his neck, the Dune doc, the Jodorowsky Dune doc. That's going to be out there. We are going to be having some type of screening or something at Rock and Shock on Sunday afternoon, which I got to talk to Josh. I don't know. We're going to do something, but like it's all screwed up now because like a bunch of our friends that were going to come to when we were going to do something on Friday had made plans.
Right.
And then we moved it to Sunday and they're all planning on going. They were like,
right.
Like Erica wasn't sure if she's going to even be there on Sunday now.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole thing got got jacked up,
I
and
think-
that's to no fault of him. That's
No,
not
no,
his
no,
fault
no,
in
no.
any way.
Of course not. But I think that people have started moving stuff around so they can be available for Sunday because I've talked with Erica. So
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
she
Excellent.
was asking me a bunch of questions.
Yeah. Well, the thing too is we can't confirm what we're going to do until we have a specific slot.
Right.
We had something really cool planned that I think is falling apart because of the time change, and the fact that also since we don't have an exact time yet, it might or might not happen. Nobody wants to
Right,
schedule anything when I don't know what time it's going to be. I don't know when your flight is,
Right.
or
Well,
when you're planning on leaving.
it'll all come together because there's still a bunch of time, and you do make things work.
This is true. I got to get my the Throwdown music.
Oh yeah.
I can't announce the Throwdown without the music. Let's see here. Is it this guy? This is the one I usually use. I got a whole bunch of files, so I got some files. Yep. Whoops. I don't know where it went. All right. So the 4th annual Outside the Cinema Halloween Throwdown is a celebration of low budget and big budget misses on the Saturday before Halloween. We've done it. This will be the 4th. I think this is actually the 5th year we've done it. I'm not sure if it's the 4th or 5th. We're going into what, our 6th year? So yeah, it's actually going to be the 5th annual. I misspoke earlier. But so the films that we are going to be doing, we allowed this year for the first time because of the Kickstarter. I say for the first time, but it was the Kickstarter was because the Kickstarter was the first time we've done one of those. But hopefully this. Hang on, I got too many things going on in front of me. Here's the page that's got the films on it. Okay, so yes, the 5th annual OTC Halloween Throwdown presented at tv.outsidethecinema.com. It will start at noon. We will be screening 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films. It's a noon to midnight extravaganza. As we said, 3 of the films were chosen by Kickstarter supporters. We're going to go over those 3 first, and then I will let you guys in on what we're doing, because I got a couple of really, really cool things planned for this one. So, the first Kickstarter film from our friend Jason Cook, thank you for your donation, Jason, is the film Horror Hotel. It is our classic horror film pick for this year. In the past, we did that weird Dennis Hopper mermaid movie, and then we did Stage Fright. We always like to do kind of a classic black and white horror film, and Horror Hotel fits the bill for that, so I'm very excited about that.
From
Jason.
no, what year?
64, if I remember properly.
Because I'm gonna, like I do all the time, I look them up as we go along, and there's 3, but 4, 5, but they all have different titles. One is Eaten Alive, one is City of the Dead, Bloody New Year.
It's the one that's, I think, City of the Dead.
Okay.
What year is that?
1960
Yes, it's that one.
with Christopher Lee.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just, to clarify for everybody listening.
Clarify, yes. Our good buddy Christian, who's been a listener of the show for a long time and now is officially a supporter thanks to his donation through Kickstarter, his film that he chose for the Halloween Throwdown is the trash classic Blood Diner, which I'm super excited about, because I honestly don't know the last time I saw it. That's a little more.
Oh, it's been a long time looking at this and seeing who's in it and stuff. Yeah, it was probably HBO, long time ago, or Cinemax. Or something.
I'm gonna go back to the load music.
Yeah.
That was a little too
from
too uppity.
1987.
Very good. Chris Sparks, his donation, the film he chose, Fade to Black, which is a really interesting early 80s kind of pseudo slasher, if you will. I don't know if I would say it's a full-on slasher, but it's definitely a cool little film. And thank you very much for your donation, Chris. All right, so now I needed to pull out some gems since I was only able to program 3 of the 6 films this year, which I'm totally cool with. I wouldn't have offered that if I wasn't okay with it. But we've always done kind of some, like, the stuff that kind of flies under the radar or forgotten stuff. So we did a couple years ago, we did this Asian found footage ghost film, and I can't think of the name of it offhand now, but this is from the same director, and it's from 2010, and it's called Shiromi. Shirome. It is a fake horror mockumentary about a demon that's possessing a school.
Okay.
And I actually haven't watched it yet.
So it's a little bit like the video feed from Japan in Cabin in the Woods. Right?
It may be. It very well may be. I can't make any promises there.
So that was directed by Koji Shirashi.
Yes, and the other film that he did, if you click on his films there, read them off to me. I'll tell you which one it was.
Grotesque, Slit-Mouthed Woman.
Nope.
Nori, The
Nori.
Curse. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
That was the
that
one we
the snail one?
No,
Oh, no,
that was
that was-
Uzumaki. This
Yeah.
was we screened that on the Throwdown, and
Right.
that's from 2010, which is reason why it's not one that we featured on the show.
Right.
But yeah, Shirome, 2010.
That sounds interesting.
So, and this film that I'm going to talk about now in a second is going to open the day. It'll be the first film of the day, and it is when you talk about forgotten cheese classics.
Yes.
There's no company that's better than the Mouse at putting stuff in like the vault and you never ever hearing about it again.
Oh,
But
yeah.
God damn it, Bill will find it.
I was going to say, really, Disney? But yeah, that's what you're doing, right?
The Mouse.
The Mouse.
You don't say them by name because they will come and sue us.
Oh, I was talking about Roy, not Walt. So that's
Doesn't
okay.
matter. They'll still come and get us. So The Mouse, this is a family-friendly one. That's why I figured I would put it on early in the day.
Okay.
Some of you may remember from 1986, Mr. Boogedy.
That sounds very familiar.
Boogedy boogedy boo. 1986 is Mr. Boogedy. I can't wait. That'll be the noon film. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. And then in all likely, the film that will be closing out the main portion is one of those ones, we always try to put a film into the Throwdown. It is one of those films that we talk about endlessly on the show that always seems to come up.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones that I know a lot of people haven't seen. Usually it's something that we feel is like a good film that we talk about. But this year I went the opposite and was going to be like, I'm going to share this piece of shit with our fans and our friends because there is no reason why we can't have possibly the best Halloween party time, all of us together watching 1989's Heavy Metal Massacre.
Oh, boy.
I can't wait. Stroke of genius program in that one. Heavy Metal Massacre. So the films: Horror Hotel, Blood Diner, Fade to Black, Mr. Boogedy Boogie Boo, Shirome, and Heavy Metal Massacre. They might not be in that particular order. They actually won't be in that order, I'll tell you that right now. But they will definitely be somewhere. I'll tell Mr. Boogedy will be the first film, and Heavy Metal Massacre will probably be the last film. Or at least of the thing. Want to talk about bonus? What I'm going to give the people as a bonus?
I was going to say, now I know what part I'm going to be awake for, and it's not the end.
No.
Or I will go do something for an hour and a half.
But basically, we also do the secret midnight screening, which I'm not going to tell you what that is yet.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you what.
And
the
you
secret
told
midnight-
me, and
I
this is
told
how
Chris.
bad my memory is today. I totally forgot.
Really, you already forgot?
I did. No, I'm not here today.
Oh, fair enough. All right, but we are going to do a pre-show.
Because if I forget, then I can't spill it.
So we're going to do a pre-show that's going to start probably around 10 a.m. our time. And you want to know wrestling fans, what we're going to be watching? For the early morning crew?
Well, if you're asking wrestling fans, then it has to be something like field hockey or something.
Yes, obviously field hockey.
Yeah.
1996 WCW Halloween Havoc, headlined by Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah!
Nice.
That's going to be the pre-show.
Nice.
It's going to start around 10 a.m.
What year is that match, did you say?
1996.
96. Wow.
1996.
Macho Man was still wrestling in 96, huh?
He wrestled right up until when he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Be a man, Hogan!
I didn't know that.
So that will start early. So spread the word. Obviously, Bunny's going to be making us a cool video promo that we'll be playing on the live shows, and we'll put it up. We'll put a link to it up on the Facebook page when we get there. But yeah, Horror Hotel, Blood Diner, Fade to Black, Mr. Boogedy, Shirome, and Heavy Metal Massacre, plus the bonus early morning show of 1996's WCW Halloween Havoc.
So you're really talking about 16 hours of content.
18 maybe. I fully program it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to watch the whole thing on our TV.outside the cinema channel. In all likelihood, it will be through Ustream. So hopefully we won't get capped. It looks like everything. There's a delay, but it looks like the everything's working again this week. They just must have had some issues last week. But it's going to be a good time, and I can't wait. And that is Saturday, October 20. What did I say?
26th. It's we can just say the Saturday before Halloween.
Saturday before Halloween.
Right? Is that? Let's make sure that's
it
right.
It is. You're 100% right.
Right.
So if you have any questions or any requests or anything for stuff going on that day, it'll be great. Chris will be here. He won't be here the whole day. I couldn't.
I'm not sure if I can get the whole day off or not.
That's okay.
I may have somebody on vacation. We'll see.
It's all right. As long as you stop by for a little while, pop in, say hi. We'll have some stuff planned. I'm sure Scott will call in at some point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna contact the guys from Trick or Treat Radio too and see if they want to do a little bit of something for a little while. But yeah, that's the Throwdown. Can't wait. Okay, we haven't even hit the first segment yet, but we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back.
Wait, wasn't that the first segment?
No.
Oh. All right.
No.
I thought the announcing took the place of the list.
Spread the word. Get on Twitter. Get on Facebook. Tell people that they need to jump on live and see what we're gonna do next, because this is gonna be possibly the greatest thing we've ever done on the show ever. So spread the word. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Now, you know what? We're with Outside the Cinema right now. And I want everybody to get on our Facebook and website and everything else we got. If not, I'm going to show up at your door. And I will come. Machete will kill. But I don't text them.
We want your feedback. No, not like that. Email the show at feedback@outsidethecinema.com and send voicemails to 206-350-0618.
When was the last time a movie froze you to your seat, made your palms sweat, quickened your pulse? Cat o' Nine Tails really does the job. National General Pictures presents Cat o' Nine Tails. It's 9 times more suspenseful than Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Cat o' Nine Tails. Rated GP. All ages. Parental guidance.
Come try to find me. Don't ever wake me. Stay close by me. Don't ever lie to me. Yeah, don't say a word. You look straight at me. That's all I need now. The devil's inside me. All that I could be is all that I'll never be. Obsessed with this journey of houses and money, with nothing to play for.
It's a little bit of Matt Berry. You might know him as the doctor. He was in Snuffbox. He was also the doctor on Garth Marenghi's Dark Place and been in a bunch of IT crowd episodes and stuff.
That took me a second to place the name, but
He's a really good musician. His records are awesome. They're like these weird, like folky, like psychedelic things. Cool stuff, though. All right, so we've been talking a lot lately about like the top 6 lists and stuff, kind of getting stale, and we're trying to mix things up. And I was lucky enough to have enough time this weekend to actually prepare a segment. To like a cool, fun little segment to do here at the beginning, which we haven't done in a while because we're both so busy we don't have time to do a lot of that kind of pre-prep work and stuff. But I mean, there's been a lot of talk going on in the movie world and in the literary world about 50 Shades of Grey. They finally cast the male to play the character Christian, and it's Charlie. What's his name from Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Huh?
Nah, I wish it was.
That would be
but
all right.
He's on Sons of Anarchy, and he was in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know 50 Shades of Grey isn't something that we really talk about a lot on here, but I got, this idea for a cool segment, and, I talked to some people, and we were like, all right, cool, let's do this. This will be good, and it'll help show Chris, how on top of things Chris is. So here's a very special segment that we're going to do, and we're going to put Chris on the spot here to see if he can go with it. So here's the intro.
All right. I already don't like where this is going.
Scott.
12-inch cold hot dog.
Everybody loves erotic fiction, especially Reverend Scott.
Come on, Chris, don't be a pussy.
Oh yeah. Is it 50 Shades of Grey, or is it from the demented and perverted mind of Reverend Scott?
Man, does it have pussy galore. Transatlantic mistresses.
All right, so this segment is 50 Shades of Scott. And basically what we're going to do here is Reverend Scott has provided us with some clips of him reading, and you are going to need to identify, Chris, whether they are clips of him reading excerpts from 50 Shades of Grey,
Right.
or things that he has written for his own erotic fiction.
In his own fan fiction.
In his own fan fiction,
Yes. Okay. I've never read any of the books. I've stayed completely away from them, so this will be interesting.
Very good. Because we all know the funny thing about, well, I shouldn't say the funny thing, but the the Shades of Grey is everyone talks about basically how terrible it is and how poorly written it is.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I had my wife confirm that for me. So, let's just get right into it, Chris.
She's a brave soul.
She loved them.
Really?
I don't know. I know she read them. So, okay.
You're not reading it for character development, I'm guessing.
Well, maybe you are.
I, again, have not read them.
All right, so Chris, here's the first one.
Okay.
Is this 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Scott?
Miss Steele, you're not just a pretty face. You've had 6 orgasms so far, and all of them belong to me.
All right, is that from 50 Shades of Grey, or is that from Reverend Scott's Dirty Mind?
Oh, I'm gonna go with Grey on that one. Really? Oh, okay.
That is correct.
Oh, it is.
That's
Oh,
the
that
correct
sounded
sound.
like a wrong buzzer.
No, I should have made buzzers before we start. That'll be the right buzzer.
Okay.
And the wrong buzzer will be.
You get a sad trombone?
Oh, I can get that. Yeah.
That'd be good, because then that's definitely different.
Yes. I should. I'm pretty prepared for this segment.
I
but
have
not
to say,
completely.
this song is the most uncomfortable thing about this segment so far.
You like a little "I Want Your Sex"?
No. I really hope 50 Shades of Grey ends with him having to fight the girl and she's in a giant robot.
What? Could you imagine?
We just rewrote it. She turned into a monster with glowing runes, and we just went with it. That's fine.
All right. You're 1 for 1.
Okay, which is good. Let's stop here. 100%.
All right. So let me get the sad trombone ready to go.
Okay. Hopefully you won't need it.
Well, either way, no matter what's gonna.
It is sad regardless, isn't it?
Yeah, that doesn't work. Let's see here. I'm having fun at least. So many buttons. I want your sex, Chris.
No. No. That's
All
where
right.
I draw the line.
So we've got 2. We can do. Or we can do this one.
Oh, that's up to you. That's totally up to you. Either one of those works.
All right.
And I think actually the sad Price is Right one would work best if I get it right.
Maybe.
Just saying.
All right. Let's do number 2. You're
Okay.
1 for 1.
Okay.
Is this from the mind of Reverend Scott, or is this from 50 Shades of Grey?
He slowly guided the ice cube down my skin. It was too cold, but I didn't dare make a sound. Christian then pulled his cold, icy hand from the bucket of ice water. "Get ready for the stranger," he commanded.
Is it 50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Scott on that one.
That is correct. 2 for 2.
I think it was the "Get Ready for the Stranger" that is what I.
Scott's a
cued
pretty
him
good
at.
erotic fictionist.
The good thing is though is he's using the characters' names and not just being
Yeah.
like him and her. So it's
Yeah.
that was one of the things I was going to listen for. But he's pretty clever.
He is a pretty clever guy. All right. Here's number 3.
"I found some baby oil. Let me rub it on your behind." Christian squirts baby oil onto his hand and then rubs my behind with careful tenderness. From makeup remover to soothing balm for a spanked ass. Who would have thought it's such a versatile liquid? Makeup remover to soothing balm for a spanked ass.
Is that Reverend Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
It sounds a little too gentle for the book, so I'm going to go with Scott. Yay, I win!
No. Why? No, that's not right.
What is happening?
I hit the button. It was supposed to play the sad trombone. What is happening? What is happening? I have no idea what is happening. Right
Whatever's happening, it is awesome. You think that's how Girl Talk got
I
started?
don't know.
Oh, these songs are playing at once. Wait a minute. It's like a musical kick.
That was actually from 50 Shades of Grey.
It was. Oh, that was very gentle. That must be early on in the books then.
I found some baby oil.
You got to squeeze a lot of babies to fill a jar of baby oil.
I found some baby oil. Miss Steele.
All right. Number 4. Is it 50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey? Oh, I don't know what the hell just happened over there now. No, seriously, like everything just went weird.
Did it?
I got balled by so many guys. I don't know if the father's gonna be white.
Did somebody
Indian,
hack in and relabel everything?
or black.
speakerphone.
Miss Steele.
It's all right. The song's still playing. I'll listen to that.
Good.
Calling all fat kids. Time to get paid.
I got all these weird buttons like.
Calling all fat kids.
Tree rape. That's it. Just tree rape. Okay? Tree fucking rape.
Tree rape, huh? Oh, so yeah, the one that I want to play won't work.
Oh,
I can fix that. Don't worry.
okay.
Oh, because it's empty. It's not there.
Well, then that one's from Scott.
As long as the song is playing, that's all that matters.
Exactly. It's filling up the silence.
All right, we'll go back to that one.
Okay.
50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
I don't recall reading about nipple clamps in the Bible. Perhaps you were taught from the modern translation.
Scott or Grey?
Oh, I have to say, I hope that's Scott because that is some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. Really?
That is from the book 50 Shades of Grey.
That book was published, huh?
I don't recall reading about nipple clamps in the Bible.
Well, you're not reading it well enough then.
I don't recall it either.
It's right there in the first chapter.
Oh, I hope people in the chat room are enjoying this because nobody's saying anything.
It's because they're all listening going, what the fuck is this?
Funny is what it is. Funny. All right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We have a couple more.
Okay.
50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
I stare at him, longing for him to touch me, but he won't. I ache, but I'm forced to watch Christian fuck the goat in the bushes until he finally slits its throat. This goat fucking leaves me breathless.
All right, well, that's got to be Scott, or that's
Finally
just fucking
slits its
eerie.
throat.
It's very good. Very good. That's
All
one
of a sudden, it's a Greek movie.
Slits its throat. His goat fucking leaves me breathless.
It's terrifying.
funny. All right. So you were what? You missed 2.
Okay.
So you were 3 and 2.
All right.
So 50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
His fingers circled my puckered love cave. Are you ready? He mewed, smirking at me like a mother hamster about to eat her 3-legged young.
50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Scott?
Well, considering the Bible quote in the last one, it's kind of difficult to. I'm gonna go with the book.
That would be correct.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's only so many ways you can. Is there anybody? Is he?
He's right there.
Oh, okay. There's only
His
so many
fingers
ways you can
circled my
describe
puckered
certain
love
kinds
cave.
of things. Puckered is not one of those words.
His fingers circled my puckered love cave.
That's like a word you use after you had like sour candy.
Yes, I agree with that. All right. 50 Shades of Scott or 50 Shades of Grey?
I fear I may have angered him this time. He slams his fist against the shower wall and lets out a visceral scream. Christian thrusts sharply inside me and leans in to whisper in my ear, "Call me knifey cock." And leans in to whisper in my ear,
Yep.
"Call me knifey cock."
That was good up until that last line.
Grey or Scott?
That's Scott.
Very good.
It's actually Michael Ironside.
Zen to whisper in my
the
ear,
worst sequel to
"Call me
Starship
knifey
Troopers
cock."
you've ever seen.
I found some baby oil. Pretty face. You've had 6 orgasms so far, and all of them belong to me.
All right, we have one final one. This is the bonus. This is the bonus round, Chris. For all the meat and potatoes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
As he opened up the Resident Evil DVD case, Chris thought to himself, Mila, you are my Princess Sparkle, and I am your Jack Burton, and I pray to God every day that they will put you in the new Star Wars movie, although that may hurt me, because that would prove that there truly is a God. Oh, yeah.
You know what's funny is that's the one excerpt from the book I remember reading.
Let's hear that one again.
As he opened up the Resident Evil DVD case, Chris thought to himself, Mila, you are my Princess Sparkle, and I am your Jack Burton, and I pray to God every day that they will put you in the new Star Wars movie, although that may hurt me, because that would prove that there truly is a God. Oh, yeah.
There's one more that I had because he just texted me. And it's a pretty good one too, but I don't know what the hell happened to it. It's the one that wouldn't play. I can find it though. Hang on. I think I should have it here. Intro. Titled. Oh, maybe it's not here. Unable to load file.
I have to say, from everything that I've heard and read and seen, people aren't reading those books for the literary experience. It's basically a marital aid book and softcore bondage and S&M.
Yeah, I don't really actually know all that much about it, to be honest with you.
I read a lot of reviews, some of them written very sarcastically and funny. Because I was curious, but I didn't want to read the whole thing, but I wanted to get, a review type thing. And they're kind of like the romance books that like the paperbacks that are all over the place. They're like those, but a little more hardcore.
All right,
That's it.
Is it this one?
I stare at him, longing for him to touch me, but he won't. I ache, but I'm forced to watch Christian fuck the goat in the bushes until he finally slits its throat. His goat fucking leaves me breathless.
We already heard that one.
His fingers circled my puckered love cave. Are you ready? He mewed, smirking at me like a mother hamster about to eat her 3-legged young.
That's just
I
terrible.
fear I may have angered him this time.
Terrible.
He slams his fist against the shower wall and lets out a visceral scream. Christian thrusts sharply inside me and leans in to whisper in my ear. Call me Knifey Cock.
I thought I had...
Oh, boy.
My back is squarely on the table.
Here it is.
Christian presses down on my shoulders even harder this time. Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass. This can't be kosher, I moaned.
That is not from the book.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
My back is squarely on the table. Christian presses down on my shoulders even harder this time. Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass. This can't be kosher, I moaned. This can't be kosher, I moaned.
Hey, you guys want to hear about TIFF? Well,
yeah.
The good Vishnu is going to tell you all about it. Here's a bunch of TIFF reviews from our good friend Vishnu. Vishnu.
And now it's time for Vishnu's TIFF report. You didn't get to go to the Toronto International Film Festival? It doesn't matter, because Vishnu did. Here to give you a whole bunch of reviews of movies you may or may not have heard of, the one and only Vishnu! Vishnu!
Folks, this is Vishnu. I'm just calling in just to give you guys a little wrap-up of things I saw at TIFF this year. I saw 29 films this year, but I'm just going to really talk quickly about a few that I think are relevant for OTC, and of those, just the ones I'm really going to talk about. These are not in any order. The first one I'm going to talk about, and the one I think most people are really interested in, is the new Eli Roth joint, Green Inferno. This was an absolute crowd pleaser. I actually really did like it, and I'm not a huge Eli Roth fan, to be quite honest. I've seen lots of very, very good positive word of mouth since the film, and it really does deserve it. I mean, it's not a it's never going to be mistaken for something from the 70s, from Deodato or Lenzi, but it's very much beholden to them. You can tell that he really does love these movies. I mean, I know he does. Roth was in town showing Cannibal Ferox earlier in the year. The movie itself, it looks really nice. I mean, the first act, the first 20 minutes or so, it's sort of the setup there in New York. It's the same old story. A bunch of white kids, privileged, go from University of New York, go into the jungle, things go bad, and then they get eaten. The setup is a bit long. It took them about 20-30 minutes. It could have been done in 10 minutes or so, but whatever. Once shit really goes down, there's a really fantastic plane crash, to be honest. Not as visceral and quite as terrifying as the plane crash in The Grey, but I mean, this is just gory as fuck, and you're like, okay, yep, I'm in. They meet the cannibals, and the first big kill, oh good lord, you're like, yep, I'm here, I'm in. And if you're not in for this, if you don't dig it, get out now. This is it. This is nasty. It's bloody as fuck. Now, one thing it's slightly different, or two things that's slightly different than the 70s ones. There is no real animal cruelty, thank goodness. And the other thing is, it's tempered with a tiny bit of humor. There is a sort of thread of very, very black humor. So the nastiness, the kills, the torture, etc. Some of them are just so audacious you sort of laugh because you have to. Some of them are genuinely actually quite funny. There's a real great shit heel of a sort of bad guy, as it were. And yeah, the ending it's very much from, Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, a few people afterwards sort of said this, and I agree with them. This is not Eli Roth's Cannibal Holocaust so much as it is Eli Roth's Cannibal Ferox. That being said, it's a lot of fun. If you dig this kind of stuff, if you dig the sort of the people in the jungle getting horribly eaten and killed, this is totally up your alley. It's a lot of fun. The next one I wanted to talk about quickly was the new film from Lucky McGee. This is All Cheerleaders Die. This is an interesting one in the sense that it's actually a remake of a film that Lucky McGee made when he was in university, when he was 21 or something like that. And the premise is essentially it's cheerleaders. It's a cheerleader movie. It's a very odd film in that it starts going one way, then it goes another way, and at first you think it's a bit messy. You don't think, it sort of looks like it doesn't really know what it's doing, and then it does, and you realize, oh, it really fucking does. And it's moments of The Craft mixed with Mean Girls, and I'm not the first person or the only person to say that, but it's very accurate. It really is. So The Craft by way of the Mean Girls with zombies, also fantastic lines like a poor son of a bitch who loses his virginity to a zombie cheerleader, and says things like, yeah, I got that sweet cold pussy. It is meant to be cold, right? It's funny, it's bloody, it does get kind of mean at the end, but I mean, it's Lucky McGee, so I mean, it's not going to be sort of the depths of the woman, say, but it's a great time, and it was a great one with the big crowd. This is sort of I really do hope it gets a decent release. It probably will show up on VOD, so a bunch of friends and watch this. The next one I wanted to talk about quickly, considering that Insidious 2 is making the rounds, I think this is kind of apt. There's a movie called Oculus. This is one I went in with very, very little to no foreknowledge about hand, and I am saying this now on the 16th of October 2013. This is going to be next year's Insidious or The Conjuring or whatever, or next year. Hopefully it comes out next year. I can't see why it wouldn't. It's an American, English language, got a pretty cast. It's essentially about a haunted mirror. That's really it. It's a chamber piece. It's mostly set in one house. There's a mirror, it's evil, it did terrible things in the past, and now the kids who it affected in the past now come back. One of them thinks he may be crazy, the other one, the sister, doesn't. It's got some really great set pieces, it's got some fantastic manipulation of time, the continuity, the sense of place is really good. It was a bit divisive among some of my friends who went to see it with me, but I'm firmly in the camp of this was fucking great. I'm a sucker for sort of haunted house ghost stories, so there is that, but It's really well shot. It's sort of directed to and I thought the children, because a lot of it are the children, who I generally hate children in general and in film, were fantastic. They were very, very good. I thought it was genuinely creepy, very, very scary, and had some really, really nice ideas, and didn't sort of overstay its welcome at all. Speaking of overstaying the welcome, I'm hoping I'm not going on too long. The next one I want to talk about is the movie R100. Now, I'm going to talk about this briefly just because I don't really know what to say about it. It's from Matsumoto's a big deal in Japan, and he did Big Man Japan over here, and he also did the movie Symbol, which has almost no release. I'm really, really hoping this does come out because it deserves an audience. It is one of the most bizarre fucking things I've seen. Essentially, it's about a man who signs up for this sort of exclusive bondage club, where, you know, the girls, instead of you going to them and they, you know, whip you and beat you, they come to you and they sort of come and get you. It's sort of like almost The Game, but with more bondage and spit and bondage ninjas and a giant blonde woman throwing people around and people getting hit in the balls repeatedly, and it's so fucking odd. I'm just saying, if you see R100 and if you're able to see it, please. Even if you hate it, you will be, I think, happy at least you saw it, just so you can say, I saw that fucking movie. Good lord. The next part here is one that's I know probably should get released, as a movie, Horns. This is the latest film by Alexander Aja, he of Hottention and Piranha 3D and the Hills Have Eyes remake, and this is based on a book by Stephen King's son, and it stars one Daniel Harry Potter Radcliffe, and you know, it's nice to see Mr. Radcliffe moving away from those roles. It's him and Juno Temple, so you do get to see, if you're into that, you do get to see Harry Potter sort of naked and fucking Juno, a very, very pretty Juno Temple in a treehouse, which is kind of cool if that's your bag, I guess. It's a very odd film. It's essentially a revenge film. It begins, Juno Temple and Dan Rad, wonderfully in love, and then she shows up dead, horribly murdered, and everyone thinks he did it. He says he didn't, and then he grows a pair of horns on his head, and it's essentially a metaphor, but it's very fun. It's a bit too long in my opinion. I'm hoping it gets edited down for general release, but even with that, it's got some fantastic visuals. The horns on Radcliffe's head, they basically make people tell the truth. He is essentially the devil, and it makes people tell the terrible, worst secrets they have. They just can't help themselves, and they don't sort of realize it after the fact. There's a lot of fun with that. There's some fantastic moments of Radcliffe just walking out of a building on fire, the smoke billowing out and horns on his head. It's quite fun. I didn't really love it at first, but it really grew on me now I'm thinking about it, but it is still too long. Hope it gets cut down a bit. The next one I'm going to talk about is maybe my favorite title of the festival is The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears. Now this is from the same duo that did Amer, which admittedly I have not seen, and I know Bill was not a fan of this. That was a sort of very much a style over substance, as it were, and this is again the same thing. I can't speak for Amer, but this is one that I left, and it was one of the most unique and beautiful things I've seen. I still wasn't sure if I liked it or not. It's such a head scratcher. It is again set in that world of giallo. It's essentially a murder mystery. I think it was a tad too long personally, but it was, again, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. It's one of those ones, the movie showed up on the screen and it looked like film stock. It looked like such rich, luscious, luminous film stock, no digital artifice, though I don't know what they shot it on. It has it had the most walkouts of any film I saw at the festival. It is incredibly bloody while being very, very stylish. Lots and lots of people getting repeatedly stabbed in the head, falling over, and then just to sort of get the point home, the wound looking like a vagina. Take from that what you will. It has a fantastic score, and if you can get into the sort of that mindset of this is a puzzle box of a movie, or if you just want to look at the set design, just look at it from a sort of purely visual standpoint, you'll dig it. If you want a straight ahead story, you will fucking hate this film. Why don't you go play in hell? Asks Mr. Sinosono, who directed the fantastic Coldfish a couple of years ago, as well as Love Exposure. This is one that I know Mr. Jake McLarchuge loved, and I left. I think I was the only person in that cinema that didn't like this movie. It's grown on me a bit now that I've been thinking about it and rolling it around in my head. It is, like I've said a few times for a few other films, a bit too long. It is one of the most audacious things I've ever seen. It does have that incredibly broad sense of humor that kind of grates on me, but the last act is so bloody. And when I say bloody, I mean like bad taste / Dead Alive kind of bloody. It is insane. It's also very, very funny when it's not got its head up its own ass. This, I'm assuming, will come out, so do see it if you can. The next one I want to talk about, I've got a couple more, but I'm going to finish on this one, I think. And this is one I was very, very happy to see. Jodorowsky's Dune. So I'm a massive, massive Dune nerd. I'm also really interested in, I can never say his fucking name, Jodorowsky, and I know Bill and Chris do like the guy, he of El Topo and the Holy Mountain. And this is a documentary about the film that never was. This is in the 70s, before Star Wars. Jodorowsky was going to make this massive, epic version of Dune. An important thing for us here in OTC land is one of the producers is Mr. Steven Scarletta, or as some people know, the back of Forrest Whitaker's neck. I got to meet him. He's a wonderful chap. It would have been incredibly awkward if we had gone to that screening and I didn't like this movie, but I fucking loved this film, and I'm not just, on his jock because I know the guy now. It's just a good film. It's an interesting one in the sense of how do you make a documentary about a movie that doesn't exist and all you've got is sort of artwork and sketches. So there's a lot of interview footage, but the interview stuff is gold. It's really, really funny. Some fantastic bits, like full on of a 600-seat cinema just, laughing their bollocks off at times. And the Chris Foss artwork, it's just gorgeous to see it projected large up on the screen, and they do sort of animated bits and pieces to give you an idea of what would have been. The Chris Foss artwork is amazing, so it's lovely to see it, and it's really just interesting. Even if you're not a fan of Dune, the book, or the Lynch film, or the universe in general, or Jodorowsky himself, it's just great from a filmmaking perspective. The idea of the sort of the hubris involved, what needs to be done, what happens when you have all these egos clash with money, when people of a vision talk about it, and also just if you're a genre fan, because the sort of the spine of this film basically went on. You've got Dan O'Bannon, you've got Giga. These people all went on. They made Alien. If they hadn't got together to try and do this, would Alien have come about? Would sort of sci-fi? Or the question arises, if this film had been finished, how different would sci-fi and the film world be now? It's fascinating stuff, and I really, really hope everyone goes to see it. It got picked up by Sony Picture Classics, as so Bill has mentioned a couple weeks ago. So it should get some kind of release. And if you can see it in the cinema, I really do beg you to go. It's not just talking heads. The talking heads are funny, but it has some really, really great visuals, and it's a fantastic job. So kudos to Mr. Neck. All right, I've been rambling for almost 15 minutes now, or thereabouts. So I'll stop and thank you and take care. Bye.
And now it's time for Vishnu's Tip Report. You didn't get to go to the Toronto International Film Festival? It doesn't matter, because Vishnu did. Here to give you a whole bunch of reviews of movies you may or may not have heard of, the one and only Vishnu! Vishnu!
This can't be kosher, I moaned.
That was Vishnu's TIFF report for this year. Lots of good stuff in there. The Jodorowsky Dune film is something that obviously has been on our radar. We really want to see it a lot, and maybe do a screening of it. So we'll see. I'll talk to Steve and see what can happen. That is Scott telling us about. I was surprised it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. Definitely have to revisit that at some point. So there you go. Scott says that we're going to have to do it again in the future.
Do what?
The what do you mean do what? Obviously this.
Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass. This can't be kosher, I moaned.
We're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about Weasels Rip My Flesh.
You a dead meat slime bag!
Hi, this is Kane Hodder. Keep listening to Outside the Cinema, or I'll kill you.
Oh, hey there. It's Rev Scott. You may remember me as backup singer for such talents as Rex and Effects and Wham, but today I come to you as a fan of Outside the Cinema. I want to tell you about a charity that is near and dear to my incredibly massive heart, the Feed the Ego Foundation.
Ego!
In just mere minutes a week, you can feed a hungry ego by writing your responses to feedback at OutsideTheCinema.com about any of their completely accurate information you've heard Bill or Chris say on the show.
I probably misquoted facts.
That is a good point.
Plus, when you call
206-350-0618,
no operators are standing by, but you can leave a special message that's witty and creative like,
"Hey, it's Reverend Scott. Penis. Peace and love, guys."
So do something right this year. Feed a hungry ego and leave OTC feedback, won't you?
The big double horror show of the year is the most gruesome double feature ever filmed. Every horror film you've ever seen, every tortured body, severed limb, hideous creature has been preparing you for this moment, this one experience. I eat your skin. I drink your blood. Cinemation Industries presents I Eat Your Skin. I Drink Your Blood. A total experience in terror. When the bloodbath begins, listen. It may be the only chance you'll ever have to hear your heart stop. I eat your skin. I drink your blood. The titles are all you need to know.
Touche Amore! Out now on Death Wish Records. One of the best hardcore records of the year. Touche Amore. Check them out at deathwishinc.com. All right.
Yeah.
Who suggested this movie? All right. Weasels Rip My Flesh. Todd Colley. Hey, thanks, Todd. Thanks a lot, man. No, before we get too deep into it, Weasels Rip My Flesh. Wow, I keep saying fresh. Weasels Rip My Flesh. You have a 2.8 rating on IMDb. 1979. Starring people you've never heard of. It was directed by Nathan Schiff and written by Nathan Schiff. When he was 16 years old, he did this. He is best known for doing lots of kind of like really cheesy, crappy, super low-budget cult movie films. He did something called Abracadaver. They Don't Cut the Grass Anymore. The Long Island Cannibal Massacre. So it's what this guy does.
It sounds like, looking through his filmography, it sounds like it's more of a hobby,
passion project
kind of thing.
Type stuff. So the he wrote and directed this, and he also played a part. His brother was in it a little bit. So the storyline of this film, returning from the planet Venus, an errant NASA spacecraft. Super special effects in this too, by the way, which I'm sure Chris will get into. Crashes into the ocean, spilling its radioactive cargo. Enveloped by a radioactive mass, a rabid weasel is transformed into a gigantic killer mutant. Prowling the countryside, the huge weasel kills and devours victims. The creature is captured by a disturbed scientist who plans to use its regenerative blood to amass an army of similar monsters, enabling him to conquer the Earth. Okay, this film is, this is probably the lowest budgeted film we have ever covered on the show. This film's budget, I looked it up, $400. Be in 1979, still $400.
It's like $1,000.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're looking at
the microphone you were using is more expensive than that.
We're actually looking at like actual ketchup for blood in some scenes. What I can only assume is Play-Doh for some guts. And muscle mass. I don't know, spaghetti maybe for intestines.
Maybe some gizzards.
There were some gore shots. I'm gonna go with positive first. There were some gore shots that actually were a little gross looking. The dude that smoked the entire. Nobody chain smokes cigars, by the way. That shit just doesn't happen.
Did you see that post, that picture I posted on Instagram? I think it was on Facebook too, of the part where the dude that smoking the cigar he was one of the cops.
Yeah.
He is at one point smoking a cigar,
yes,
shaving and talking on the phone all at the same time.
Yes. Yes. And when he was done shaving and he left his house, which he parked his car across the street in front of another house for the house he lives in. He had the badass handlebar mustache going on.
Yeah.
Which was one of the very few good things, because you had two characters that looked the same.
Oh, yeah. And there's very little story development in this. Now, looking at it from the idea that it was made by a 16-year-old kid and his friends, it was...
From that standpoint, congratulations that you made a full film.
Yeah. 67 minutes. It's short. But, so the film starts off and you have, this random guy that kills this couple and, it doesn't really kind of factor in much at all.
Yeah.
And then you have, a 3 or 4 minute shot of just the woods. And then a couple kids come walking through, and one of them, I think, is the director's brother. And he gets bit by this little weasel. So they, then take this weird radioactive stuff that they find, and rather than being worried about the kid having rabies or what is this stuff they found, they just dump this radioactive waste down the hole.
Yeah.
And then the dude becomes a zombie.
Okay. Yeah, and then what? Nothing.
Yeah, and then it's that's it. And then you fast forward to Dr. Shaves a Lot and Smokey. So, yeah, I mean this film, it's kind of a tough film to be. At least from my side of it, I don't know about you. I mean, it's tough for me to really be too hard on this film, because I know it was, some kids got together with a camera and they were able to make a movie.
It definitely changes the way I would discuss it, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, but, there's nothing redeemable about it. There's, the plot is is silly at best. I mean, acting is non-existent.
Yeah.
The special effects. I mean, they talk about the NASA spaceship that takes off. It's literally a model rocket.
It is. It really is. I now because I did nothing. I just watched it and I'm like,
well, that's usually how you handle the reviews. You
Yeah.
just don't want to know too much about it. You want to speak simply on the merit of the film.
Right, which I can't. So I'm gonna talk about. I waited till you were taking that drink. I'm going to say that even at 16, you should know how to focus your camera.
Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass.
Seriously, focus.
Yeah.
If you're too close to it, then you need a different lens. If you can't focus on it because you're too close. I mean, there were some shots where I figure this is what they were saying behind the camera. Oh, that looked awesome. And knowing that they were really young when they filmed it, that's probably exactly what happened.
Oh, do it again.
Yeah, it's we can only do this once. I have to admit, though, the best thing about this whole movie, aside from the handlebar mustache and the mirrored glasses that dude had.
Dude, when he was standing there talking on the phone, shaving and smoking a cigar, I'm like, all right, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's okay. We're getting somewhere here. The missing arm gag on the one guy at the end, on the mad scientist guy at the end. It actually looked good. It wasn't tucked around his waist.
It actually
or down
wasn't
his
too
side.
bad. It looks like
it was like he moved it to his front for shots where he was running away, moved it behind him.
Yeah.
Because the shirt the dude was wearing was tight, so you couldn't really hide anything in there. There's no lab coat or anything like that.
When the dude's like, come into my laboratory. This is your finished basement. This is not a laboratory.
I love that. They at the end they go through this, that they have clear the dirt away, blah blah blah. They lift the thing. They go underground for an unspecified amount of time, and then they end up in some dude's living room.
Yeah. I looked like the finished basement at my parents' house is what it
Yeah, but
reminded me of.
there was sunlight in the
Windows
in the
and
room.
stuff.
Yeah.
It was I mean it's an incredibly silly film. It's totally you got to look I shouldn't say you got to, but when you look at it, it's I can't be too hard on it, because it's definitely, you can tell when you're watching it that there was the best of intentions behind making it.
Oh yeah.
They were having a good time. I don't know
where are they?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But the biggest hurdles that the film has that makes even this short 67 minute runtime kind of tough is the fact that the acting is there's bad acting and then there's non-existent acting.
Yeah.
And this is like non-existent.
This was how really good actors act when they don't know how to act. When they have to act like they don't know how to act.
Hi, I'm Will Ferrell, and welcome to
But it was worse than that. It was still. It's like it's exactly like the first time you read Shakespeare out loud, and you pause at the end of every line instead of punctuation. That's exactly how this came off. I have to. The giant weasel.
Oh, made out of paper mache.
Paper mache with white construction paper teeth. And then they fought some kind of paper mache hammerhead from the Star Wars cantina.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't...
They were in the water and randomly this shark just jumps up. And I know it's supposed to be...
Oh, shit, the shark.
Oh, I thought when you were talking about the hammerhead.
No, I was talking about like the fucking tree dude in the lab that like... I don't know where the fuck that...
Oh, that
there
guy.
was that monster
that
in the plaid shirt, right?
I forgot about that. But yeah, then there's a part at the end where the mad scientist is in the water.
Yes.
And out of nowhere, this shark just jumps up.
Yes.
And starts eating him.
Do you think it was a real shark?
No.
Because it looked way too good.
I think it was foam. I think it was foam rubber.
Like oh, you know what? Like they took it off somebody's wall.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know that this was filmed on Long Island. My first thought was, what is a saltwater shark doing in a lake? And then my next thought after that was, how the hell is that shark staying still and keeping its head out of the water? Because it's slowly like sinister, and you even heard a little bit of Jaws music there. It was like,
yeah,
boom,
the music
boom.
is terrible in this, by
what?
the way.
And why would it bubble? I expected the tree hammerhead dude to pop up behind him from the water, but it was a shark. Sharks don't bubble when they breathe.
I don't know, man.
Then when he went back underwater, bubbled some more.
Yeah, well, it's bubbling over.
I do like the fact that the shark bit his. And when I say I do like the fact, it means this is fucking horrible too. It bit him on the forearm and managed to rip his arm off at the shoulder. That was the most fragile scientist ever put on film.
And he just wanted to rule the world. The entire world will be
everybody
mine.
wants to rule the world.
He was such a bad scientist, too, because he had like the 1970s, early 80s beard.
Oh, yeah.
And like the tight plaid shirt and like the swooshy hair.
Yeah.
And there's a part where he's like sitting there and he's got his like legs crossed and he's talking to them and he drugs the two guys and he's like, I'm going to use your blood to replicate the weasel's blood. And then they're like, what? And then he's like, too bad you've been drugged. And then they were like, the two guys are like,
instantly
they're like,
out.
no. Oh, bro, I'm down.
My favorite thing is when he was injecting the blood into the guy's arm, and he used alcohol wipe on him. Like, you're going to turn you into some kind of mutant creature, but don't want you
Make sure it's sterile.
Don't want you to get an infection or anything. And he jams the needle straight down into his arm, right? And I fully expected to see a little puddle of that stuff like pool out from under his elbow, because like clearly it's between his arm and his torso. I fully expected to see it like start to pool out on the table. Like if you stick a 2-inch needle straight down into somebody's arm, you are definitely going straight through that vein.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Anything else?
That's great. Probably. There's probably a lot that I could say.
All right, Chris, do you recommend Weasels Rip My Flesh? And what is your grade?
No, I don't even recommend that we mention the title of the movie again. This is absolutely, and this is with complete disregard to who has made it, the budget, whatever. Like, you have made a movie and released it, and then it got remastered at some point.
Digitally,
and re-released by Digital Shark, which I thought was actually kind of funny. So you're proud of this to a certain degree.
Absolutely.
And this is without hyperbole, this is the worst movie we've reviewed, in my opinion.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Worse than Heavy Metal Massacre.
Heavy Metal Massacre.
Screening this October on the Halloween Throwdown.
Heavy Metal Massacre actually had a plot you could follow. Was it good?
I don't know about that.
Not really. Not really. Was the bad guy made out of paper mache? No.
No, he was made out of Maybelline and Aquanet.
Yeah, pretty much.
What?
And bandanas.
Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass.
So I honestly feel like I have no choice. I have to give this an F.
Wow.
You know, I understand who has made it and all that, but I can't grade the movies based on that criteria. I have to grade the movie based on is this watchable?
Fair enough.
I will say it is mercifully short.
Yeah, it's only 67 minutes.
So I had been toying with the D- and the F, and there are very few, very special movies that cross over into F territory for me. And I recommend this to absolutely no one unless what you just heard me say and heard Bill say. If you need to see that for yourself, if you hate yourself that much and you have complete disregard for anything we have ever said over the course of the last 5.5 years, go ahead.
Now, I'm not going to be as rough on it as you are. Is this a terrible film? Absolutely. This film is awful. There's a little bit of soul to it, though, because knowing that, you know, the people that made it and just kind of looking at it in that type of, you know, we made a movie.
If I was to grade it from good intentions, it would be a whole different grade. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, though, the film is still awful.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there was a script. The worst cinematography never entered anyone's mind. I mean, now I understand, yes, it was a $400 Super 8 film shot by 16-year-old kids. Okay, yeah, but I'm looking at the film as a whole.
Right.
It's got some kind of weird thing about it that you're kind of like, well, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
It did keep me watching.
More so to see what the hell they were going to try to do next. I'm not going to fail it. I'm going to give it a D-.
Yeah.
And I'm going to recommend it only in the circumstance of you really, really like F grade cheapo Super 8 horror films.
Yes.
Or Schiff's other stuff and want to check it out because it was his first film. But there really isn't anything redeeming to this. There's, you know, these cheapo early 80s, late 70s gore fests are a dime a dozen. I mean, something weird must have like 1,000 of them that they put out over the years.
That are better.
Yeah, seriously. Like, you know, if you're gonna watch a low budget gore fest, you watch like Gore Girls or like one of those, like, you know, the Lewis flicks. But Todd did recommend it to us. I don't know where he was going with it, whether he's like genuinely a big fan of the film.
I'm going with this is the worst thing I've ever seen, and I need
want
to
see
hear
what
they have to say
about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
See, I had a feeling you would side with the I understand where they're coming from part. That's why
I still think it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, yeah. It's still a D-. Like, it's still a bad film.
I can see this like as a Halloween movie.
Maybe.
Later.
Films like this are inherently more fun when you're with a bunch of people making fun of them.
Yeah.
So that is.
Oh yeah, this would be amazing to watch with a group of people.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm completely inside the pig carcass.
Let's take a break and come back and talk about Martha Marcy May Marlene.
Martha Marcy May Marlene.
Yes.
Hey, it's Eli Roth, and you're listening to Outside the Cinema.
Twitter. A huge collection of narcissists desperately shouting into the void and hoping for some kind of attention or human contact. You can tweet the show at OTC Chris and at OTC Bill, although I don't know why you'd want to.
These fucking kids in their tweet face space. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Buck and the Preacher, the first black Western. They said that Lincoln won his war against slavery. They said blacks were free to pursue their own lives. But now, Buck and the Preacher tells the real story.
We want this Buck. I'm Buck.
Sidney Poitier as Buck, Harry Belafonte as the Preacher.
I'm the Reverend Willis Oakes Rutherford of the High and Low Order of the Holiness Persuasion Church.
Buck and the Preacher. Black power in the Old West, where equality was a pair of scatterguns and a 44 hidden in the good book. Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte in Buck and the Preacher with Ruby Dee and Cameron Mitchell. The story of free men who refuse to say massa. From Columbia Pictures, rated PG and beautiful. Parental guidance suggested.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She loves to dance, she loves to sing, she does everything. She loves to move, she loves to groove, she loves to love and things. All night, all night.
Well, Eb, there's your Rise Against you're always asking about. That's Rise Against covering Journey from their B-sides and covers record that they put out this year. Okay, Leandro Romero suggested this film, Martha Marcy May Marlene. I do have a trailer here. Let's play it. Error occurred. Please try again. Okay, we will refresh. Yes, this is from 2011. Play, here we go.
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Martha?
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm not sure. I'm upstate, I think.
Find out where you are and I will come get you.
I can't wait that long.
What's going on?
She's here now. She seems okay.
What'd she say?
She had some boyfriend. They were living in the Catskills.
Is this Martha? Martha, you look like a Marcy May.
We've got a really nice place here.
It's as much yours as it is mine.
Where are we? Connecticut? Well, how far are we?
From what?
Yesterday.
You mean from where I picked you up? About 3 hours. Why?
Do you ever have that feeling where you can't tell if something's a memory or if it's something you dreamed?
I don't blame you for not trusting people. But if you're ever going to have a meaningful relationship, you need to let your guard down. We want to help you. Let us in.
What happened to you?
You're a teacher and a leader, Marcy. Now prove it. Shoot it.
They're living animals.
So shoot Max then. Go ahead.
I know who I am. I am a teacher and a leader. You just never let me be that.
I don't think she should stay with us anymore. We can't ignore the fact that her behavior is insane.
I'm her only family.
We have to leave. We all have to leave.
What happened? I don't know.
Well, she's just a picture. Lives on my wall. Just a picture. You're my favorite. I won't lose you. That's all.
Martha Marcy May Marlene, 2011, directed by Sean Durkin, who has not done a whole heck of a lot. I think this is his feature film debut. He's actually the guy that's directing that Janis Joplin biopic that's coming out.
Oh, okay. That's the one they were talking about on 30 Rock, right?
No, that's Jackie Joplin or whatever it was.
George Jop.
This stars Elizabeth Olsen, Christopher Abbott, Brady Corbett, Hugh Dancy, and Sarah Paulson are your main characters. This is very much outside of what we cover in terms of the time period because it's a film that came out only not even really 2 years ago now. It was renowned at Cannes. It won Best Director at Sundance. It's a pretentious art film in the simplest of ways.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a bizarre film, but this is definitely a film that the people involved with creating it think it's really smart.
I think it's got a lot in common with Drive.
Yeah,
as far as pacing, you have to really pay attention and sort of almost understand the situation the characters are in, because they don't give you a lot of information, except there's some flashbacks,
Right.
but it's a quiet movie.
Yeah, that trailer makes it seem like it's a lot more. That trailer is kind of misleading. It kind of almost presents it like it's a horror movie. With
it's not a traditional horror movie.
No. No, Elizabeth Olsen made this is. Depending on looking at the dates, this is either her first or second film. Most people remember her from Silent House, and she's now done a few films since then, and she's in the Old Boy remake, and she's in the Godzilla film that's coming out, and she's in the new Avengers movie.
Rumored,
No, it's not rumored.
I didn't know that was confirmed.
It's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, because I thought there was going to be an issue with Fox having X-Men. She's, Magneto's daughter. That kind of thing. It's kind of a...
She's a Magneto's daughter?
Her name is Wanda Maximoff. And that's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Her and Quicksilver.
Yes,
brother
okay,
and sister.
yes, you were right.
Yeah.
But she's the younger sister of the famous Olsen twins, and she's inherently far more talented. She's actually quite good in this film.
I would think that maybe the other two would have been... okay,
could have.
If they didn't start off with Full House and we had a better opinion of them, you know what I mean?
Well, then they also did tons and tons of just like mindless kid junk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so the storyline of this film, Martha, the main character Martha, plays by Elizabeth Olsen, she runs away from an abusive, weird hippie cult where she had been living under the name Marcy May for about 2 or 3 years. She turns to her sister and brother-in-law who take her in, and they want to help her and figure out what happened to her, clean up her life. But the main problem is that Martha's having this really weird, like she's having a hard time separating what are memories, what are dreams, what's reality going on. She gets all these weird, crazy memories of the past, and she like kind of just gets bits and pieces and kind of falls in and out of stuff. So, the whole thing is like they're trying to help her, but can they really get her under control? And then is she going to go back? The whole point is like, she going to go back? Are they coming after her? Are they following her? So the film basic story is she gotten away from this cult, or are they still coming for her? And can she reaffirm herself back into society?
Yeah. Now, see, I would argue to a certain point about the does her sister actually want to help her? Because her sister's kind of a twat. Because
Sarah Paulson plays that role so well too.
It's your typical you're a fuck up, so whatever kind of thing.
Well, and they both kind of argue with each other over things.
But it took the whole movie for the sister to say, like, sincerely say, "Are you okay? What happened?" Like, nothing is like, why the fuck can't you sleep is basically what comes out. And then you have the fiance or husband because they were married, who just is like, get her out of here. I can't take any more of this shit. And it's an interesting thing, because the family that she doesn't want to be near was, on the surface, we'll say, more happy and open and accepting than the family that she needs to be with and belongs to.
Meaning the cult family.
The cult family, yeah.
But that's what cults do. But then as very much every cult, as you learn more about how they treated her, like as it starts off, they're like, yeah, you can stay here and hang out. And then it's
both
like,
families meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Neither one is good for her.
Right, because she's just now so damaged.
Yeah.
Can
I talk about what disappointed me the most of this, the most with this?
Well, before you say that, let me get this out. The film. This is a slow burn, and I will say that it being a slow burn, it never really goes anywhere. I felt like this film was like running in place with like memory, and then this is going on, and then memory, and then this is going on, and then I just felt like,
which is my comparison to Drive.
Yeah, but Drive, I feel as though does it right, whereas this does it wrong. Because I loved Drive. I was enthralled by Drive.
This does have like a satisfying end, I think, if you really dig into it and like interpret it.
I don't doubt that the director, Sean, I think Durkins is his name. I don't doubt that when they were making this, there's a lot of layers to this film. It's a pretty deep film if you want to look at it that way.
But we say that a lot, but it's true.
No, and it's true because you can watch this movie for face value, which is kind of what I did, which I don't usually do, and I don't understand why I did that particularly with this film. Because I usually like to kind of dig those layers, peel those layers back, and get into it.
Yeah.
But I was just having a really hard time because I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't like there was one particular instance that happened with the cult that broke her. It wasn't like they robbed a bank.
No,
or
but
like
that's
something really bad. Oh no, actually no. I'm sorry. You know what? There was there was the when they robbed the guy at the house.
Yeah, and that's where I got disappointed.
Okay, continue then.
I don't give a shit about the Manson family and what they've done, which is why the Van Bieber film, I'm like, I don't care. Helter Skelter, we like anything to do with the Manson family. I kind of shut off because it's so like.
Well, you're a really strong-willed person, and it's hard for you to relate to it because you would never be in that situation.
That's the thing too. I think anybody that gets sucked in by anybody like that is a moron.
I mean,
and that's just, I'm sorry
like our listeners.
If it's happened to anybody that they, because you can, under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or you can be convinced of things, but no, it's not just that. It's like the whole Manson thing is so cliched now,
right?
For them to go and basically do what the Manson family did, you could have done it in a different way, and it felt kind of stale when the home invasion type stuff happened.
Right.
The first time it's creepy. It's like these guys are just bored out in the woods. They got nothing to do, and then it's like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
What happened here? So that I'm kind of like, okay, do something interesting with the cult, which I thought they were doing. Because the leader was creepy as hell.
Yeah, he's very plays the role very well.
I really dislike that guy.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to.
Oh, but he did
his
a fantastic
his
job.
role in Winter's Bone was like that too.
You said that there was a moment where she broke. I think that it was with real people, and I think that's what they were going for here. It's not a one thing that does it. It's the whole. It's a buildup of things. Like she wakes up in the middle of being basically raped.
Right.
Twice.
Yeah.
And the first time it really bothers her, and then she settles into it because
that's how it is there.
And then that's the sad thing, and I don't condone this. I want to get this out there. This is just in the context of the movie. Her character's like, well, fuck it, this is what I signed up for.
Right.
I don't like it.
Well, yeah, and the transition of her character from when she first gets there to the character when she leaves, she was the one that was all questioning everything, but then she's the one that's telling the new girl, oh no, it'll be fine.
Well, that's how you further indoctrinate the people. And that's a step in the indoctrination process for the women, is to get them to spout the stuff, because any teacher that teaches somebody something really retains the information themselves.
Yeah, I think what it boiled down to with me was what was the point of all of it? Because the film ends, and I was reading some stuff about the ending, and you can kind of take the ending in a couple different ways if you want. But she's going wherever, and it's it's over. But there's no real and not that I need a period conclusion in my films. I don't necessarily need that, but this something about this film it felt off to me the whole time.
But I think that's.
But it wasn't that when you watch The Holy Mountain, where you're just kind of flipped on your side and you just feel, or you watch Irreversible and you just don't feel right the whole time watching. It wasn't like that.
It's a good thing you brought that up, because I was going to say with the sound and the camera movements in the beginning of that, there was this drone going on during the cult scenes. It was very low, but it was this monotonous just there, like the one string Joker theme in Dark Knight, but discordant almost, and very off-putting, which lends credibility to her statement about, I don't know if this is a dream or if this actually happened. She could have had a psychotic break from an overdose or something that's never discussed. The ending, you can take it a couple. She claims she recognizes somebody during a party, and she freaks out.
Yep.
She urinates on herself at one point when she's sleeping, which I think is a clear sign of trauma.
Oh, absolutely.
That's happened. So that stuff lends credibility to the fact that that it's there, that it actually happened. She wasn't just like wandering lost in the woods or run away from anybody. So we'll spoiler alert the end for a second here, because I think we have to discuss
a little bit, yeah,
how it's like slamming a book shut before the epilogue. You only see her because the movie's about her, so you don't see the full car shot of them driving her to the asylum for her appointment or her committal or whatever
it is they're doing.
And she starts, and I read a bunch to see like different interpretations of the end, and it's all kind of the same thing. It's either totally innocuous and it has nothing to do with anything, and she is imagining all of it, or the person that got in the car and followed them way too close at the end is from the cult.
Right.
Those two, the sister and the husband, are not going to make it back to their house, because and it all kind of ties together with when she gets in the house and she's like, "This is a huge house."
Yeah.
And like, no, it's not that big. If you were living where she was, basically
with
in an attic,
37 other people.
yeah, then it is a huge house. But it's almost like they let her go because they know that she's going to lead them to more money, but I think there's a lot of stuff that's done on purpose.
Oh, I think everything in this film was done on purpose. I think everything is very this is a very the strategic points placed in this film for reasoning.
But it's also made to see. I think it's also done two separate ways. You could view it 2 or 3 different ways even. And just the 3 names that the character is assigned, that shows like almost like a personality split in her too, because she has to be a different person in different places.
Yeah.
There's a lot more going on. I'd love to watch this with a commentary, and really get inside the writer's head and the director and see what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Chris, Martha Marcy May Marlene.
So the thing is, I don't know if I liked it. She was good. She was really good, and I want to see her in more stuff.
Did you see Silent House?
No.
You should watch it.
I've heard the title a bunch of times now.
It was very
good. And now that she's on my radar, and I when an actor I like, or when an actor that is going to be in something that I want to see, like Avengers 2. No, Avengers 2. Like I want to see other stuff because I kind of want to get to know the actor before they take on the role. It just, I don't know. It's like a thing I do for new actors. What was my point? I have no idea. This is a difficult one to grade.
I agree.
Because there are certain things that I just absolutely don't like, choice-wise, script-wise, like almost copycat Manson stuff. I don't like that, but I really like almost everything else. And I feel kind of dirty for liking it.
Right.
Which is totally the intent, I think, of the filmmakers, because you're not supposed to... There's nobody to identify with in this. There's no clear-cut good guy.
No.
Because even the main characters...
Yeah,
she's kind of shitty.
She's very flawed.
Yeah. And she's broken, and it like mentally broken, and like when you watch something, it's like if you watch Drive, like there's a couple characters you can be like, I could see myself hanging around with whoever. All these people, like, no, I will take a bus to get the fuck as far away from you as possible, because none of them are nice people.
No.
So that makes it difficult on top of it. As of right now, I know when I finished it, I'm like, I don't even want to talk about this. And that's rare. I'm going to give it a B.
Okay.
I'm not sure if when we like recap for the year, if it's going to move up higher and maybe make the list. But I think this is one where kind of like, what was the Cronenberg one with Jeremy Irons?
Dead Ringers.
Yeah. That one took a long time for me to appreciate.
Like years.
Decades, even. From the time I was in the theater to the time we did the show. Not that we covered it, but we've discussed it a bunch. Right. I think it's going to take me months to really get it someplace where I can reconcile anything about it. I definitely recommend it.
Okay.
But you have to be awake and sober and willing to really watch this.
Right. I get that.
So
I didn't like it. I didn't.
Yeah, I could tell.
I didn't like it. And I enjoy films that make you think. I enjoy films that make you uneasy. So it's like we brought up Irreversible, and that's kind of the example of the films. It's like you watch it and you can't be like, oh, I liked it, because it's such a mean-spirited, bad-natured, uncomfortable, graphic experience.
Right.
But it's such a well-made film
Right.
that it's tough to be like, well, it's not good, because it is. It's amazing, and I loved it, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
And this is like one of those films I felt like the director tried to make, and let me just make sure I get the guy's name right. Sean, was it Durkin? Yeah, Sean Durkin. I really felt he was trying to make one of those movies that people aren't going to like it, but they're going to appreciate it.
Right.
And I really I feel like the pretension level in it is probably maybe not as high as it made it sound when we first started the review.
No, I don't think it's nearly that.
No, but there's definitely that I'm a smart filmmaker. I know better than you, and this is what's going to happen in it. And it just didn't sit well with me, but not in the it's making me uncomfortable way.
No, it didn't make me uncomfortable either. And I don't think I'm going to watch it again.
I'll never watch this again. So but I think, Elizabeth Olsen was excellent.
Yeah,
the cult members were all really good.
Ugh,
Sarah Paulson as her Seabag sister was really good. And
she started off kind of caring, and then it's like, fuck it, I can't help you.
Well, it was kind of like she got pushed to the end of a rope pretty quickly. And that was also, but in her defense, I think because her character was getting it from the husband too.
Right.
So it was
they were also trying to get pregnant, and she's older, and that's not going to happen. And
right.
There was a lot.
But she was really good too. So I actually really appreciated the acting in this. I thought the acting was excellent. It was a pretty well written film in terms of kind of juggling the dream sequences, the memory sequences, and what was going on. It was defined enough that you could tell when something weird was going on. But overall, I just didn't like the film. So I'm gonna grade it. I'm gonna grade it a C-.
Which is a good grade.
Yeah, which I can't hate on it too much, because I thought the performances were great. It was shot really well. The cinematography, the director of photography did a great job with it, because it looked really good. And it did one thing that, especially with the way it shot, was it did a really good job of making the cult look unattractive.
Oh yeah,
it made it look dirty and just I like that, because you could even tell at the beginning of when she first joined the cult. They're sitting outside, they're in their bikinis, and they're sitting by the lake, and everything is very attractive. And as the deeper she gets involved, the dirtier everyone gets, the nastier everyone gets, the filters on the cameras are darker.
But you see, that's where I think that's not pretentious, because it's the more you learn about somebody, the uglier they get.
Right.
So it's visually done. I think that this guy actually is a talented director and writer. And I think, for what he attempted to do, I think he succeeded, because there's very few movies when I'm done with it, I'm kind of depressed. And Drive didn't depress me the way this did. And there's no one thing that I can point to, like the end of The Fly when he holds the shotgun up to his head. That's depressing. But this whole thing was just, it was it's
heavy.
It's an
very
anti-boner
heavy.
movie. It just kills any joy you have inside of you.
Right.
But it's sprinkled throughout the whole thing, because you're watching this girl who is just, she wanted to get away, but to a place that doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
And that's probably that's the saddest part.
Yeah, I'll be curious how this resonates with you.
Yeah,
I will. So, all right, we're gonna take one final break. We got a little bit of feedback to go over. We also got some music, and we got some holy shit with Rev Scott. All that coming up right after this.
You're listening to Outside the Cinema. I'm Corbin Burnson. Check out Dead Air.
All right, I'm here with Mike White and Rob St. Mary to tell you a little bit about the projection booth.
All right, Reverend Scott, take us to church.
What can we expect to find from a typical show?
2 hours of just random blabber.
Is there anyone's coattails that you rode in on to popularity?
I'm the guy who fucking burns the coattails and then pisses on them.
You review all these exploitation, horror, comedy, cult, and all-around often terrible movies. You must have a strong driving force that keeps you going.
Ego.
I don't know if I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, I have been saying that for a while.
Really?
I have been saying that for a while. Also, I'm high on smack.
Well, it's definitely working for you guys. People are coming out in droves to support you on iTunes.
We just the other day got a 1-star review on iTunes.
Well, that is 1 star too many. Let me tell you, the worst fucking piece of shit I've ever heard.
This has been great, guys.
Thanks, Scott. Who? Oh, he has you crying over there.
I'm good for the rest of the year.
Nice.
That was too much.
Phantasm. Is it a nightmare? Is it alive? Whatever it is, if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm. Rated R.
Under 17, not admitted without parent.
That's off the new White Lies record. All right, let's dig right into this feedback and a couple voicemails here. Let's play this one.
Ahoy, mateys. It's Ed, and since it is Talk Like a Pirate Day, it seems as good a time as any to say thank you for doing my show a few weeks back. Sorry the films weren't that great, but I really appreciate it, and since I got mixed up on my own top 6 list, I don't have 6 pirated items off the top of my head, but a couple that come to mind really quick are when everybody was first talking about Hausu, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. There was the theatrical release, which I missed. Everybody was talking about it, which I missed. I found that there was a Japanese DVD on some torrent somewhere, but it had subs. Watched the film, loved it. Found out Criterion was releasing it, loved that. Like, immediately snapped up a T-shirt and a Blu-ray where I otherwise would never have even heard of or probably still seen that movie. Another one which is kind of interesting, much worse movie, is the infamous Turkish Star Wars, which I actually bought from an imported official, quote-unquote, Turkish DVD. But the damn thing didn't have subs. I actually had to download, like, another time, like a torrent, for subs for, I mean, I guess that's already an illegal movie, but I don't know, really, the pirates beat the official Turkish there, but, and the last one is, there was like a public access TV series somewhere called Forbidden Transmissions, and I downloaded that entire series, and then I really enjoyed that one, and I was gonna, like, check out kind of more of this sort of like a video mixtape kind of thing. But so I ordered a couple of them off a website that also sold official Forbidden Transmission stuff. And I don't remember what the other ones were called, but one of them had a little postcard inside for, one side was Paris Cinema Magazine, and the other side was Destroy the Brain. And so I downloaded Andy's show. I miss you, Andy. Please come back and make more shows soon. And on the breaks of one of his shows was stuff for GGTMC and Outside the Cinema. So there you go. If it wasn't for piracy, I wouldn't even be here. Anyways,
that's pretty interesting, actually.
Fantastic work, and I will hear you soon. All right, bye.
Thanks, Ed. That is pretty interesting how that all works out.
Yeah.
Crazy. Cray. All right, let's see here. Our buddy Josh. Hello, Bill and Chris. I hope everything is going well, and I'll take this time to confirm publicly that OTC will have a Sunday afternoon time slot in the Rock and Shock film room, probably around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, so start planning. start planning, even though we don't have the actual time. I've got some ideas, but we'll see. So start planning. Anybody listening who may have submitted a film, official announcements will be released later this week. I think a couple of our listeners submitted films.
Good.
Excited to hear you discuss Martha Marcy May Marlene this week. I think it's an interesting and divisive film, although my story of seeing it is far more interesting than my opinion of the film. I projected a preview screening of the film at Brown University, which was the first time we hosted a studio preview screening and weren't informed ahead of time that by the distributor would be hiring their own security team to confiscate cell phones and stare at the audience.
Yep,
Brown,
that's pretty standard.
Is it really?
For early release stuff, when we did World Trade Center, it was that kind of thing. When we did Miracle, they did that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, night vision goggles were very popular later on.
Brown obviously didn't want this outside company harassing the students and attendees, so they in turn stationed a campus cop with each of the hired security guards to keep an eye on them. Well, then lucky me, because that leaves me in the booth watching Martha Marcy May Marlene with a security guard to one side of the projector and a cop on the other. Awkward. He typed out awkward.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic when they watch you break down the print afterwards. Are you done yet? No, you fucking dolt. I'm not. Sorry, I have bad memories of studio interference.
Fair enough. I wish I had some input about Weasels Rip My Flesh, but I believe that it is the only Nathan Schliff film I have not seen. Maybe you should keep it that way.
Yeah.
While I'm here, I will take the time to plug my Euro Horror Marathon again, so people remember. Plus, I can always announce the full lineup for you and your listeners. Saturday, October 12th, from noon until midnight, come and see The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock, Burial Ground, Man from Deep River, House by the Cemetery, The Gates of Hell, and The Beyond, all on 35mm prints. Check out ArkhamFilmSociety.com or the OTC Facebook group for more information. Thanks a ton, guys. Josh! That's how he signed it, like that.
Okay.
Josh! All right, another voicemail.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Michael Neal calling back again.
Oh, who's this guy?
I just had to elaborate on a couple things. I ran through that last list because so many damn movies, so important. But no, 99 was definitely a year that really changed movies and had a big influence. I mean, The Matrix, you guys touched upon, definitely introduced that super annoying bullet time thing that pretty much dominated the first half of the 2000s. Blair Witch, I mean, you talked about it, but come on. That had a huge impact on the last, 13, 14 years of horror.
Didn't we say
American
that?
Pie, doesn't get talked about that much, but really reintroduced the super raunchy kind of teen sex comedy with a more modern twist.
I wasn't a fan.
And there were tons of imitators after that. I mean, Sex Drive, Road Trip, Van Wilder, even something like Harold and Kumar. I mean, really, it really ushered in a new era of comedy in this country. Being John Malkovich, I mean, pretty freaking trippy and kind of postmodern, almost like a kind of logical extension of some of the postmodern films, or not postmodern really, but self-aware films of the 90s, Scream and all that kind of stuff. Fight Club, definitely, almost with Being John Malkovich, kind of the mindfuck kind of film. South Park, almost in conjunction with something like American Pie, definitely contributed to the uber raunch and kind of pushing the limits of what you could put into a film, not in terms of violence, but in terms of just sex and that sort of thing. So, I think without those, you might not have films like The Hangover or other just kind of raunchy sex comedies. So anyway, just calling to tell you guys how much I missed the boat again and to leave you a second voicemail so you'll have another one on your answering machine. Bye.
As he opened up the Resident Evil DVD case, Chris thought to himself, Mila, you are my Princess Sparkle.
Michael, I hung out with Mike on Saturday night, and he was saying, I got to send you a voicemail on your 1999 list, blah, 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 blah. And I thought he was going to take us to task.
Oh, okay.
He didn't really. So.
All right.
Well, I guess that's all right.
Yeah, I guess it's okay. He didn't yell at us.
No, it's true. He's ramping up for the I don't know if you guys got a chance to check out the Infinite Santa movie trailer that he posted on the Facebook page. If you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, head over there and check it out. It's on the Facebook page, the Infinite Santa 8000 movie, which will be coming out this December. All right, let's play some music from our good friend Eric Reanimator.
I think I wanted to do. Young folks do it, no
this week. Wrapping up a month of what's mostly been Nordic rock and roll, we are going old school. That is The Name Losers with Dua from the classic Searching for Shake compilation of 60s Swedish rock and roll and beat music. The compilation showcases bands inspired by the Kinks, the Beatles, and the Rolling Stones, who, like so many garage bands from around the world at that time, were reaching for their moment of pure pop glory, mixing in the blues and the local folk music traditions, along with a healthy dose of English language pop. These Swedish bands, some of whom may actually have been Danes or may have actually been English bands slumming it, thinking that the Nordic countries might be a smaller pool for them to succeed in, at the very least left us with a lot of great singles. Let's take a listen. Rock in both the UK and the United States, along with punk rock actually in both countries and around the world for that matter. A lot of these bands imploded, exploded, moved along, improved. Sometimes they stayed together playing their small local communities for decades, and sometimes various members moved on to other things. Probably best known to the world at large, the band ABBA came out of a band called the Hep Stars that are not actually featured on this compilation, but we're playing the same kind of music. Then there's something primitive about this music that keeps it fresh and has that energy and that perspective and a certain amount of innocence that you can hook into. Another element of the 60s garage rock in America was a lot of those bands wound up in B films and working on the soundtrack of those kinds of films. And Sweden was no different. The band, the Lee Writers Group, provided the lead track for a teen exploitation documentary about junkies called De Color Us Mods. In the United States, it was known as They Call Us Misfits. Let's check that out, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.
When I'm with my friends on the block, we drink, we never run, don't think life is a trick to try, everything's hip to rhyme, no one can tell I cry, we never freak, cause the dog is the world for me, like when I'm high and free, I know how things will be over.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric. And as if we haven't had enough Reverend Scott tonight, we do have a holy shit segment from him also.
Great.
So let's see where that goes.
In order for anyone to find the following segment funny, please join me in playing the OTC drinking game. Take a shot every time someone says the name Christopher Walken.
The only thing that I liked about Sleepy Hollow was the fact that Christopher Walken was the Headless Horseman.
Johnny Depp
you know
was
what the best part of that movie was?
The credits.
Christopher Walken as the Headless Horseman.
He was creepy.
James, anything you want to add about Sleepy Hollow other than the fact that Christopher Walken was the Headless Horseman in it?
I love Christopher Walken, so yay for that.
Hot movie take right there. Hot takes with James. I enjoy Christopher Walken's work.
I celebrate his entire body of work.
Ah, there we go.
Yes.
And now that the audience is all dead, let's begin.
Holy shit.
With Reverend Scott.
A floppy clitoris.
Ooh. What? I don't remember that.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott. So not only am I giving you this carefully handcrafted segment of holy shit this week, but I gave you all those wonderful 50 Shades of Scott quotes as well at the beginning of the show. I can only assume it was due to an outcry of listeners to have more Reverend Scott on the show.
I don't know if that was actually a factor.
So Chris, what did you think of getting to hear me not once, but twice on this episode?
It's kind of like beating a dead horse.
I knew you'd be excited. It's not every episode of Outside the Cinema you get a holy shit in addition to hearing me do another...
Oh, I don't fucking care. Just keep going.
Okay, fine. Well, last week, James joined the show to do reviews of Postal and Super Mario Brothers, leading to an angry feedback section in this week's show that likely caused Bill to have a heart attack.
You know what? I don't blame him.
I was thinking, Bill, I'm going to predict the future right now. You say things like,
we're going to do the top 6 list that James gave us, and then we're going to shit all over him for making us watch these terrible films.
And then a few years from now, you'll be on the show wondering why the next time you do a Kickstarter, not a single listener donated. Oh, my feelings exactly, Chris. But I guess that just goes with everything else Bill ever says on the show.
Yeah, it's definitely wrong. But I'm going to say it anyway.
And guess who encourages him to say things like that?
I do, because I'm a sadistic asshole.
Indeed you are. Well, guys, I think it's time that I preview what's going to be coming up on next week's show. After talking about the clitoris on my segment, Chris sees a picture of what one looks like.
What the fuck is this?
Bill tries desperately to remain straight edge.
I'm not licking toads.
Chris describes his most vivid memory from summer camp as a kid.
It was like a giant fucking nutsack.
Bill tries to cope with my letter to him, explaining why I won't be sending him any nude photos.
So you're a heartless, soulless monster, is what you're saying.
And finally, Chris walks into the studio and finds out the hard way that Bill has decided to do the episode completely naked.
What the fuck?
All that and much, much more that will pale in comparison to anything I've done. But until then, peace and love, guys. Outside the Cinema.
This show sucks.
And it has for quite a while.
Yeah, it's not just tonight.
Fuck this.
I gotta play this one once more.
As he opened up the Resident Evil DVD case, Chris thought to himself, Mila, you are my Princess Sparkle, and I am your Jack Burton, and I pray to God every day that they will put you in the new Star Wars movie, although that may hurt me, because that would prove that there truly is a God. Oh, yeah.
That's the best one. Oh, yeah.
I have never wanted to end the show more than I do today.
All right, next week on the show, we're doing Eric Reanimator's pick of Under the Boardwalk and Shane's pick of Star Striders.
Oh, it's not Sliders? Striders? I don't know.
I wrote Striders. That doesn't mean anything.
No.
Give us a call on our feedback line, 206-350-0618. Our Facebook group, facebook.outsidethecinema.com. Our email is feedback@outsidethecinema.com. Don't forget to follow all of us over on the Twitter, OTC Bill, OTC Chris, and Reverend_Scott. And Instagram, Outside the Cinema, all one word. Don't forget, tons of stuff going on this month, Saturday before Halloween, the big Halloween Throwdown. We announced all the movies earlier in. There will be a Facebook event page up in the next probably 24 hours. Join that, spread the word. We'll be at Rock and Shock. Chris just did his big 5-year anniversary show for Are You Serious?
Oh, yeah, we did absolutely nothing special.
AreYouSeriousPodcast.com to listen to something that is nothing special.
It's better than what Scott says about us.
Good point.
And that is the only other reason really to listen to that show is the extra Reverend Scott segment you would get from that show every week. No, it really is.
All right, we'll see you guys later.